Hi people, it's me Anja, my pronouns all she and her, and welcome back to my channel for a new video. I'm in the mood today to film a more fun, lighthearted video, so here I am with my pigtails and my Goodnight Moon shirt to film this video. Frankly, with time travel, I enjoy time travel in stories where the genre is something besides science fiction, because within the genre of science fiction, time travel and time loops can become very confusing very quickly, which is another reason why I tend to avoid science fiction as a genre overall, unless it's by an author that I'm already familiar with and I already trust. But anyway, all that to say, the first book on this list is called Throwback. This story is a YA historical fiction contemporary because it follows a young Korean American main character who is sent back to the 90s, and she meets her mother as a teenager. And I think this story is so fascinating and it's so well done because I love this concept of meeting your parents at an age where you are the same age as them, like meeting them before they become the parents that you're familiar with. Because the thing about like a parent-child relationship is that like the parent will know the child for all of their life, but the child only knows the parent for like half of that, if not less. And I think that that concept and that relationship, especially when it comes to immigrants and mother-daughter relationships, is very fascinating. And this book was so good. It was so fantastic and so well done. I love the characters and the plot and everything about it. It was so fantastic and I just really enjoyed it. And I just really loved how deep it was, despite the plot being a little bit less serious, if that makes any sense. Anyway, this book was excellent, and I still remember how much I really enjoyed it, despite the fact that I read it like 3 years ago now. But anyway, with that said, I would definitely highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Opposite of Always. I haven't talked about this book in literally so long. But anyway, for those who don't know, this book is a YA contemporary following a young black main character who's trying to prevent the death of a girl he has a crush on, except that he's stuck in a time loop. This book was so good. It is so excellent and so well done. I love the characters and the romance and the friendships and everything about it. Like the plot and the time loop and everything never became frustrating or annoying or redundant because I truly felt for the main character and for everything that was happening. My biggest pet peeve with time loop stories is that sometimes the plot becomes redundant and like annoying because since they're stuck in a time loop, obviously the same day repeats itself and things become very like boring very quickly. But this book kept me interested and hooked the entire story. I just really enjoyed it because these characters felt like real people, even if I was meeting the same version of them each day, because each day is the same to all of the other characters with the exception of the main character. Does that make any sense? Anyway, all that to say, this book is excellent and it's so underrated and it deserves so much more hype. So anyway, with that said, I would definitely highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called The Secret Library. This story is a middle grade contemporary, and it follows a young black main character who discovers this library where books can transport her to the past, except that the past are specifically tied to her family history, which I think is such a fascinating concept. I think it's so cool and so well done because I love libraries and I love books about books. And I think this book was so good and so wholesome. And I loved her family history. I loved like her figuring out her identity and how her role like plays out into this. And I loved the world building of the library and everything. Like this book is so fantastic and it's so good. And this book is so underrated, which again, I know I say literally all the time, but I think this book is excellent. I love the characters and the plot and the world building and the family dynamics. Like everything about this book is fantastic and it's so excellent. So anyway, with that said, I would definitely highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Vivian Lantz's Second Chances. Did I read this book last year or the year before? Or the year before that? I don't remember. But anyway, this story is a middle grade contemporary following a bisexual main character who is stuck in a time loop of her first day of 8th grade, which is perfect because I hear that September is Bisexual Awareness Month or Visibility Month. Anyway, either way, this book is excellent and it's so good and it's so much fun. And I just really enjoyed it because, as you've discovered, I love time loop stories because I think they're so fascinating and they're so good, and when it hits, it hits. Like, this book is excellent. I love the plot, the characters, and the friendships, and the family dynamics, and everything. Like, it was so wholesome, and so much fun, and just so good. And this book is so underrated. I really hope the author writes more queer middle grade books in the future, because every single one has been so good, and so well done, and so well paced. Like, this book is excellent, and I just truly had so much fun reading it. So with that said, I would definitely highly recommend it. The last book on this list, and definitely not the least, is called Time and Time Again. This story is a YA contemporary following a plus-size Jewish lesbian with IBS who's stuck in a time loop with her childhood crush. This story is absolutely so fantastic and it's so good. You know when you read a book that has been recommended by other authors and you think that they're super biased because the author, the debut author, is their friend? So you think that the book can't possibly be that good? That was me when I entered this book, and then I exited it realizing that it's absolutely so worth the type and so much more because I loved it so much. I loved the sapphic romance, the time loop, the plot, the family dynamics, the characters. Like, everything about this story is so good, and it's so wholesome, and it's, again, so much fun. This author, I think, has a new book coming out at the end of this month, and I'm so excited to read it. And my expectations are so high because this book was so fantastic and it was so good, and I loved the queer representation and the disability representation and everything about it. This book is absolutely so fantastic, and with that said, I would definitely highly recommend it. So in conclusion, like I mentioned earlier, I just wanted to film a more fun, lighthearted video today. Not that I don't enjoy filming like all of my queer book recommendation videos and my black book recommendation videos. I love filming those too, but honestly, I've had this video idea shelved, no pun intended, for quite some time, so I wanted to just sit down and film it. I feel like I have so many video ideas that I just put off, and then I end up filming another reading vlog or a recent reads video instead. So I'm trying to get through my list of video ideas that I've had for quite some time, because as you've probably noticed, I read all these books for the first time like more than a year ago, which is why this video might sound scripted, and it's not necessarily. None of my videos are scripted, by the way. But anyway, if my reviews for these books sound generic, that's why. And yeah, anyway, in conclusion, if you enjoy this video, please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below the crescent moon emoji if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!